You have a good day. Have a good night. All right. Welcome back to a brand new video of the Targeted Individual Program, Targeted Individual Experience. So the okay, that's not the bus for me. The bus will be here in like, when I check it, it says 37 minutes. Again, with the manipulation of the transit app, right? And why does it feel like, again, put my sneakers on, it felt like, I feel like this, you know, I went outside earlier, put my sneakers on, you know, Pam came home and went to use the bathroom, put my sneakers on, and now I feel like there's something sticking me in the bottom of my feet. Yeah. But anyhow, so on my way, as the bus was driving over here, there was you know, the New York Police Department, you know, they're staging these things. You know, they had a car that was parked, and they were, you know, I don't know if they pulled the car over. I mean, the car was parked. The cops didn't come out of the vehicle. They were just sitting there. You know, it was a gray vehicle here. Yeah. When I exposed them, see, look. Oh yeah. All right. I want you to understand how they do these things. Look. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Let me tell you, it's amazing how they use technology and deceptive methods to try to manipulate you, right? Manipulate me, actually. They've done it in the past, but they can't do it anymore, right? They cannot do it anymore. So like I was saying, it was a gray vehicle. You see the gray NYPD. Of course, they've been using the color gray all day today. This is something that they know I'm going to talk about. It isn't. It isn't supernatural in any way. It is them waiting because they're listening to my conversation to hear what I'm going to say, and then immediately, as I said, the gray vehicle, they turn on their sirens. Right? You can't listen. When I talk about the bullshit that people believe because they use technology, right? The whole remote viewing thing, the U.S. government is bullshit. Okay? Because you want to know why? At the same time, even a decade before, they were studying microwave and radio wave frequency spectrum to do what? Right? And what is called the microwave audible effect, where you can actually transmit words or commands into people's mind. Okay? Because I'm telling you, I have yet to, you know, like I talk about, you know, they talk about fortune tellers and people who can see the future. No one can really, the only people who can see the future is those that are in positions of power and authority, because you know why? They are the ones building the future. You understand? They are the ones that are building the future, so they can see the future, because they are building the future in how they want the future to be. This is something that you must understand. All right? The elites have always, and rulers of society have always used manipulation. They used technology back in the days to do the same thing. You know, when you look at the, for example, when you look at revolution, how revolution starts, right? Through what? Information gathering, right? Infiltration. Okay? So that has always been a thing. It is nothing new. What they have done is to dumb our minds down, is to make us highly ignorant to these things, to understand what's going on. Okay? This is what they do. So the reason why I talk about, you see another gray vehicle, right? A lot of gray vehicles, because you know that's what they've been using today, yesterday, actually for this past week. And I mentioned that they'll do gray and black, and then sometimes they'll do what is called a flash mob, where you just, like, a lot of people wearing red will suddenly appear, or as I'm getting off the bus, you see most people wearing red, You know what I'm saying? Because red is a bright color, it grabs your attention. So it's psychological manipulation. You know what I'm saying? It is the game theory. We talk about when I talk about, you know, this is what they do, right? These sick people, they engage in games, hunting of black men, and they do it in many different ways, right? You know, as per the Jeffrey Epstein, you know, documents, because it is a game to them, right? Playing with our lives is a game to them, right? Keeping a large section of people in poverty, it is a game to them, but it's also exploitative. Why? Because they create companies which service the poor, right? To the tune of, and they also see a lot of U-turns, yeah, right? So remember too, there was actually a gray vehicle that was making a U-turn, right? So again, I want you to understand how they try to use psychological manipulation, but you got to be smart, my people. You got to understand what is being done. And here now they're using the spitting sound, right? Look at them. What happened to your sirens now, huh? After I done expose your shit, I know y'all listening. Fuck you, right? You got to be smart and understand what it is that they do, how they do these things, right? They have to be smart. But anyway, I was reading an article. When I first saw the article, I was like, what? There's like a few police officers. I think it's like 2 or 3 of them that and I said, what? They had like $14 million in retirement. I'm like, what? But it's actually $14 million in a suit brought against the police department for retaliating against them for doing what? For doing the right thing, right? So these police officers in the LAPD, the LA Predator Department, you know, they brought the attention of how that they're not training the cadets properly, they're understaffed, underfunded, and you know, you're giving people and putting them in uniform with a deadly weapon without proper training. And the police department retaliated against these officers. They retaliated against them. And it was so bad that the jury awarded them $14 million based off of retaliation, right? So like I said, so imagine when I talk about the retaliative nature of these predators on the police department, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And we're talking about bad leadership at the top. Okay? Bad leadership at the top. So one of the things, like I talk about, all is the retaliatory nature of these people, right? As I'm doing my hand like this, to use the car horn, right? The retaliatory nature of these people and what it is that they do and how they do it. Okay? We have to become well aware of what it is that they do. Well aware of what it is that they do. We cannot, for the next generation of young black boys and girls, allow these people to operate with impunity. Allow them to abuse us. Right? Allow them to continue to brutalize us. Like the brother they beat up and assaulted, right? And he did nothing wrong, completely innocent. Right? Like the young 12-year-old child, female child, that a grown-ass police officer slammed her head in the back of a police car. Right? Literally slammed her head, and he thought he was the man. This is a child. Right? This is a child, just like the coward park police that accosted another 12-year-old child, but she was a Hispanic child, and literally grabbed her and threw her on the ground. A child. But they want you to believe that they care about our children. They don't care. They don't care. Right? When bad things happen to our people, they look at it like, you know what? That's one nigga that's gone. So now we got to catch the nigger or the niggas that, you know, pull the trigger or will do whatever, right? You know what I'm saying? And they look at it like, you know, we're killing 2 birds with 1 stone. That's how they look at it. We got to understand that. And we have to stop and learn what it is that they do to us. We have to understand how they're manipulating us. Right? My young brothers and sisters, you know, a certain mindset that they instill within us because of the condition that we grew up in. You know, but we need people to literally start teaching these young people exactly what's going on. See, with my YouTube channel, you know, they shadow banned me, so you know. I mean, on Facebook, they you know, they've also been retaliating on Facebook, and all I'm doing is just sharing news story from, you know, mainstream media like ABC News, NBC News. You know, they don't remove the post from ABC News, NBC News, but if I share it, they'll remove it, and then I have to go and you know, ask for a review or have you. And then it's much quicker now, because within like within 20 to 30 minutes, I get a response back saying that, you know, that my post has been submitted, right? So again, the retaliatory nature. What video? I posted a video today of Boston police in Boston, right? See, a lot of great videos. See what I told you. See what I tell you? Right? Technology, invasion of your privacy, to manipulate you to believe in things that are happening supernaturally. It's not. It is orchestrated. When you read about the PSYOP division of the Army, okay? When you read about brainwashing. As a matter of fact, you can go online and look up, what's his name? The founder of Scientology, L. Ron Hubbard. Right? L. Ron Hubbard, he has what is called the brainwashing manual. Right? This is a document from the 1940s or 50s, I think. He claimed it's Russian, but many people don't know this, right? So L. Ron Hubbard created Scientology, right? Why did he create Scientology? He created Scientology because the South African government asked him to develop a program to subdue the minds of Black South Africans. And he came up with Scientology. You see, they understand that when you want to control people and manipulate people's mind, you give them religion. You give them a belief system. Okay? So you got, you know, like I said, go read about it. Go read about it. Okay? I read this a long time ago, man. And you know, in the 1990s, you know, I bought Dianetics, which is the first book I bought from L. Ron Hubbard, and then I bought the book Scientology. So I was an avid reader of these things. And I put it to the public. See, look. I keep telling you, you know, when they use psychological manipulation, they always show up like, yeah, see, you told you, we're right. No, motherfuckers, y'all just manipulating people. That's all. That shit don't work. Right? That shit don't work. Y'all just manipulating people. That shit do not work. Not with me. Okay? Now, I hope somebody turned the technology on your asses. Right? I hope that when you walk around in your home and your lower half starts vibrating violently, that in the next couple of years, you know, your spine is injured and severely injured. That's what I hope. That's what I hope for. Okay? Yes, thank you. That's what I hope for. All right? So when they lie and they say these technology, use it on them. Right? Get a device like that and use the shit on them. And then, you know, then you hear them talking about, I was hit with vibrational acoustic weapons, right? Yeah, but WSTI has been saying this thing for decades. And they know, because they are the ones that are doing it. They are the ones that are also giving some of the technology to their civilian criminal perps. Slow down, buddy. You're driving so damn fast. Right? Hear the sirens? Oh yeah. Gotta tell them. I'm going to learn. Look at her over there. Look at her. Look. As soon as I turn, she turned and she's looking at the blinking light on the what is that? A bicycle, a scooter, or some shit, whatever that is. What is that? So she's standing out here, right, on her phone, looking at me. I see her because I'm standing this way, but I turn my head, right? What the hell is students doing? Look at these people, man. Look at these. I'm telling you. There they go. There they go. It's the ambulance now. There they go. Again, look at all the gray vehicles. Look at all the gray vehicles, right? The ambulance now. Look. Oh, wait, she hit the ambulance thing, and she's leaves, right? She's gone. These are the type of coercive threats that they try to engage in, right? And basically what it is trying to, it has to do with Pam, right? First of all, me and Pam are not in a relationship. We're raising our children. And, you know, you're not going to get me to not say anything when she engage in the behavior that put our children at risk, right? When she does stuff like that, when she keeps our daughter home, right? Instead of taking her to school, right? And every time I confront her and talk to her about it, they use their sirens, right? You know what I'm saying? And she is, you know, I keep telling you that what they'll do, that they'll give you a false sense of power. So they'll try to manipulate you. They'll give you a false sense of power. That is just an entrapment. You know, I don't know if you guys, if you watched my video, there was another young brother that I met who said he was a TI too, and he was like, you know, they're telling me that I can do whatever I want, and I told him, I said, don't believe that. They want you to believe that. Don't do it. It's a trap, right? You have to understand that they're using technology to manipulate your mind, right? And then when you do go ahead and do whatever, right? Let's say something that's not good is bad, then they entrap you and they use it against you. So don't do that, you know? Because listen, they fed these messages to me. They fed them to me. And when I start to realize what it is that they do, when I talk about operant condition, but except what is called dark psychology. So it's the reversal. You know, operant conditioning is a psychological conditioning method that we do every single day. We do it to our children. You know, when they behave good, we reward them. When they behave bad, we punish them, right? That's how children learn of what is good and what not to do. That's not good, right? So we use psychological manipulation on our children, but in a good way. And then sometimes we'll use it, some people will use it against their children in a bad way. Some people will use it against each other in a bad way, right? But operant conditioning is the reward and punishment. You can see within the society, particularly with black people, black artists, particularly in certain genre of music, hip hop, they reward the artist that, you know, talks about street crime, violence, you know, using the N-word and calling, you know, a woman such and such. Now the women are doing it, using the N-words and calling each other this and calling each other that and talking about, getting train ran on them and stuff like that. And so they are rewarded with record contracts. Okay? That is another form of operant conditioning. Right? So when they do that, what happens is that the young people who listen to the music are influenced by the music, and so they want to do those things in real life because they see that the people who are engaging in these type of lyrics and singing these lyrics and rapping these lyrics are being rewarded. Right? So what do? Look, so you see what I said? Like I said, don't believe their bullshit. It is lie. Remember, everything is about timing. Right? Everything is about knowing how a person is conditioned, doing certain things. All right. So when of course I was sitting down. So when I saw the NY Predators Dept, because they had the lights flashing, and of course I always talk about these things. I'm very descriptive in terms of what it is that they do, how they do something, using color psychological warfare. So all they're doing is just waiting, right? All they're doing is just waiting for me to mention it, and then they like turn on the lights and use their sirens and such and such. That's why they came back the other way and had their lights off, right? Because you see, when you can manipulate ignorant people, this is you can control them, right? You know what I'm saying? particularly when they talk about it being supernatural. There's no such thing as supernatural, right? You know, Stevie wanted to tell you, when you believe in things you don't understand, supernatural ain't the way. Because he understood what the Europeans meant by supernatural. Because they didn't understand African spiritual concept. They didn't understand these things, right? You see, even in Africa, they use manipulation also. When they went to conquer other lands, they sent people in to infiltrate and so forth and so forth, right? This is part of civilization, right? Now I talk about the prosperity pastors. They will send people into towns, communities, befriend people, invite them, such find out their personal information, you know, talk to their friend or such and such, or pay people in the hospitals to give them information about certain things or what have you, and they give it to them, and then they make sure that they bring them to the revival, and then they're like, no, how did you understand? It is, look, using the sirens. Look at them, look at them, right? Again, it's bullshit. It's bullshit. That's what it is that they do. It's bullshit. And remember, I always talk about being microchip, right? So the fact that they can manipulate my mind to say certain things at any time, anyhow, it's and then because you don't know, and because when we talk about these things, we're being labeled as crazy and such, right? Okay, so but we know that's not true. I'll tell you, go and there's a video. Look, another great video. A bunch of great vehicles, man. A lot of great vehicles tonight. See that? So after I said that the color description of the vehicle, now then what they do, they start flooding the area with great vehicles, right? It's what is called shock and awe. But but once you understand the intricacy of what it is that they do from a technological standpoint, it don't affect you like they believe that they think it would, right? It used to, but not anymore. Because once you understand, these people are highly manipulative, right? They are highly obsessive, and it is what it is. Any black person that's speaking the truth, they become obsessed with them. They try to tear them down. They gotta shut you up, right? Because just to use to understand how much they love the lie. Like I always say that, I talk about the cops that won the retaliation suit. Because why? Because they went and they spoke the truth, right? And they retaliated against them, and it was so bad that they had a $14 million judgment against the Los Angeles Predators Police Department, right? You know what I'm saying? And of course they will accept no accountability, right? Because once they settle a lawsuit, they accept no accountability and no responsibility. That has always been their motto. That has always been what they do. And you can no longer talk about it. See, they pay you to shut you up. And it's not their money, it's the taxpayers' money, right? But you're winning that they're settling that lawsuit, they shut you up, right? You see, that is what they do because they don't want you speaking the truth. So you need to understand that. Look. You see what I'm saying? Listen, it's not. I know what it is that they do. I've been through so many times. I observe. I watch the patterns. I watch what it is that they do. If I'm sleeping at night, they will wake me up. They will put things into my mind, right? And again, they can do it. It's what is called dream inoculation, or TDI, total dream inoculation. I think it was a total dream inoculation. I think that's the name of it, right? Go look it up, right? The use of radio wave frequency to transmit messages in your subconscious while you're sleeping. When you look at the amount of the hundreds of millions of dollars that the New York Predator Department gets from private corporation, that they are buying secret technology, right? Many people don't understand this. And the reason why also is that it keeps it out of the public view. That when they're out, they don't have to tell the public or make it be known to the public. Look at when the ACLU sued the New York Predators Department for, to find out what technology they used to surveil on us. They don't tell them everything, right? We know they use the Stingray, right? Whoever thought about that? We never thought about that. And I mean, come on, you're a black person in the black community, even white people, right? In white communities, in particularly in poor and working class white communities, they didn't know about that shit, right? But they were in our communities, right? We make a phone call, they think it's funny. Oh, let's listen to this person. Let's follow this person. So what do, right? With information, intelligence, intel, right? They can manipulate people. They can say, okay, we got information. But how did when they go to court, how did you get that information? Right? How did you get that information? You understand what I'm saying? Go look at some of the cases in which the New York Predators Department, other police department, who have used secret surveillance technology to spy on people, and then when they get to court, they have to drop the charges because they did not want to reveal how they got the information. And what they've done now, since Trump was in office in the first term, is he flooded the federal courts and the court system with conservative judges who are pro-police and who allow the police to engage in the violation of people's constitutional rights. This is what they do. This is their cover-up. The police officer that threw the cooler at the guy and killed him, right? He gets bail and gets to stay out of jail. Now, if you and I was to do that, we may not even get no damn bail. And if you do get bail, right, after being convicted, right? Let's put it like this: we're probably not going to get bail, right? Go to trial, get convicted, right? They're not going to give you bail and then say, oh, you can stay home, go home and wait until your sentence is date. They're not going to do that. But it goes to show you the corruption, that there are different rules for different folks, and we've been saying that for decades. Black people, we know this. We know this, right? We know this. This is nothing new, right? We've just been trained to just bow our head and remain silent and say nothing, because it will upset white people, right? But how is it that, again, how are they doing it? How are they doing it? And how we can't recognize it, right? How are they doing it? And how we can't recognize it, okay? Come on now. We got to be intelligent people again. Not smart people, but intelligent people. Right? People who used to have insight. Yeah, I know they hate it when I say that. Like, I say that a lot too, because it's true. When you get knowledge, you'll have insight. And then when you have insight, you'll have foresight. Look. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. They'll hang around. And that's what I'm talking about. They will find new ways to try to manipulate me, to try to get me into that supernatural belief that it's not going to work. It's not going to happen. Right? They've trained me too well to recognize these. They've trained me too well to recognize what it is that they're doing. Okay? So I thank them for that, because now I'm going to expose what it is that they do. And I told them this. I'm going to learn everything that y'all do to me, and I'm going to expose it. And I'm going to do it my way. I'm going to show people that when we as TI talk about these things, it's happening. This is what's happening. I'm going to identify the triggers, the conditioning, right? What it is that they do, the technology, how they do it. All right? And so also lately, whenever my daughter, 4329, number 32, license plate, 4329. So whenever I speak to my daughter, she's always like pulling on her hair. I'm like, why do you keep on her braids? I'm like, why do you keep doing that? Right? And she doesn't even understand. It just automatic. It happens. I see it. It happens with her automatically. Something that she's never done. Every time she sees me, she's like pulling on her hair. And I'm just like, But again, this is what they do. I want you to understand how wicked these people are. They are wicked. But they are wicked, right? When I talk about, particularly let's look at the Predator Police Department, right? So you have officers who shouldn't be police officers who are white, but yet they got a gun and a badge, right? So what does that say about the psychological eval or the psychiatrists and psychologists that work within the NYPD? And most of them are white, right? But you will hear a former police chief say, well, we're not going to hire young black men and women who are raised in single family household because they're emotionally unstable. But the ones who've shown us time and time again just how emotionally unstable they are in the job of predator policing are white police officers. Right? Just think about that. The ones who have shown us how just emotionally unstable they are white police officers. So what does that say about them who claim to grow up in two-family household, right? Because it's not about that. It's not about that. Yes, when it comes to certain areas, I can understand that, right? But they go through training. Look, why are you blinking your life for, bro? Look. Yeah. You need to look how many times, that light blink, right? Come on. Now, when you open your car, your light blink twice. Not 6 times. Okay? So she open it, close it, open it again. See, that's what I said. I'm very observant. Very, very observant. Right? You know what I'm saying? I am very, very observant. Just to let you guys know what it is that they do. And how they do it. Right? So as I was saying, right? The people who are so emotionally unstable that when they stop a black man and the black man asks why you stopped me, they attack you. When you don't consent to searches, they attack you, they arrest you. Right? When you don't want to give them your name because New York is not a stop and ID state, they arrest you. Right? I think did I finish that story? I was talking about in Boston. So you had a black man who, Boston is an open carry state, right? A police officer walked by and he saw, the black, he had his book bag, he put his book bag on, and, it kind of showed the holster. So the cop walked by and the cop was like, hey, why are you kidding me? And he was like, what? He's like, you got a gun on you? He's like, yeah, I got a permit. He gave them the permit, right? That should have been it. If they want to run the permit, make sure it's legit, right? That should have been it. But if you get a chance, go look at the video. What they put this man through, they would never do it if it was a white person. He gave them his permit. He was very calm and, despite the fact that they were violating his rights. Okay? You should see the amount of police that showed up. Okay? And then you had this one maniac cop that kept walking back and forth because he was itching for something. He was like, yeah, I want to, you know what I'm saying? Like, how the fuck you walk as a, look. Right? Blinking the, okay? Right? Like, how the fuck do you work as a police officer in a state that is an open carry state and you don't know that? Like, you act like if it's against the law. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, they don't want black people to have guns, right? Because their biggest fear is that black people will wake up and will stop them from continuing to abuse us. That's one of their biggest fear. You see, what bullies do is that they want you defenseless, particularly racist cops. They want you defenseless, right? They can get the training in self-defense, but you can't, right? You can't. You know what I'm saying? That's why I said, as black people, we need to put our children in self-defense class. As a matter of fact, I had to sign up Alyssa for a free class, and I wanted Ethan to go, but Ethan, he's he doesn't want to do it anymore. So I'm like, okay, fine, whatever. When he gets older, he'll realize, I'm sure he's going to go back to taking jiu-jitsu again. You know, I mean, he had about, 2 years of it. So, you know, plus every once in a while, whatever I learn, I show it to him, my daughter too. You know, and I always tell them, you know, when you get into a fight, forget all that shit. I said, you know, you let them throw the first punch, and then you step in, and then you put them down, and you do it quickly and decisively. Okay, and you don't give them a chance to get back up again. All right. I'm not saying not, you know, to take their. I'm saying that you put them down to the point where, you know, they're gonna have trouble getting up, right? And they ain't gonna continue. They ain't gonna want to continue. Okay. But anyway, as I was saying, right? They don't want us to defend ourselves. You know, if a black man walk in, you know, cops drive by, he looks at the cops do a U-turn. Can I talk to you? No. Why? Well, because you were acting suspicious. How? Because I was driving and you looked at me and then you looked away. Do you understand that the nonsense? Do you understand the ridiculousness of that? Okay? Do you understand that? But we as black people, we go through this shit every single day. Every single day. And when I talk about these people don't want to change who they are to be better people because they believe that their racist behavior and their racist belief makes them better people, no, it doesn't. No, it does not. It makes you tyrants. You know, like I said, they go to church every Sunday, some of them. Do about 10 Hail Marys, go to confession, right? Talk about Jesus' love, but then they come into the black community and they look at black men and black children, black women, and they hate us. They have black women, like I said, go look at the amount of raids that police in America do in homes of black people, and you'll see the vast majority of them are single black women raising children. Particularly in Chicago, New York, LA, the big cities, right? Now, why do they do that? See, we don't like to, we just look at what's in front of us, right? But we don't quite understand that this is training. Not only are they training in urban guerrilla warfare, right? But they're also doing what? They're also doing ritual abuse, right? Creating trauma within the minds of young black children. Okay? So that as they get older, they will fear the police, particularly white police officers. Because they will always remember that night when they're sleeping. Look, NY Predators Department, yeah. Look, I keep telling you, look at them now, right? Because I'm exposing their shit. What happened? You not turning your lights on? Come on now. Right? So, also notice that when they do come around, there's either a red vehicle or a gray vehicle, or a red vehicle or a black vehicle, right? So yeah. Anyhow, right? So you know, that's what they do. They use. And I talk about psychological conditioning, and we're so ignorant the fact that we don't recognize it. We don't recognize it. We don't recognize it. This is what they do when they say we have to control them when we're young. So what do? Create trauma within the black community, within black people, black children. Okay? They use technology to manipulate us. They use technology to violate our rights. They use technology for many different things to harm us in ways that we don't understand. Right? So yeah. And when you can see these things and understand these things, they're gonna come after you. They're gonna come after you. Like I said, you know, let a black person be on the phone and be like, you know, I want to create a business for black people so that, you know, I can employ them and they can, you know, we can, you know, elevate within the society financially. They're not going to let it happen. They're not going to let it happen. You know what I'm saying? Particularly when it comes to certain kind of businesses. You know, in America, we had one black-owned cable network. Now we have two. You know, Byron Allen, you know, who owns the Weather Channel and a couple of other channels, and he had to take them to court. right? He spent years taking these mainstream media company to court because of what they were doing to him. You know what I'm saying? He's not Byron. He married a white woman. You know, you know what I'm saying? You thought you had a better chance, huh? No. I mean, look at Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan, again, NASCAR. You know, he had to sue NASCAR. But that's what you have to do, right? And now he is one of the better owners of NASCAR, right? But Michael Jordan don't even get the recognition as he did when playing basketball. So you see, as an owner of a sports team or sports franchise, right? And NASCAR is a sport, it's a racing sport, right? He is not celebrated as he should for what he has accomplished. But they'll always remember him for playing basketball. But as a business owner, he doesn't get celebrated enough. I'm just upset that the brother married a non-black woman, but you know, hey, you know what I'm saying? It is what it is, right? But time and time again, we see this. Time and time again, we see this. We have to understand what is going on. We have to look at the society for what it is, and we have to confront it head on. Yeah, white people are going to get upset. The racists are going to get upset. You know, but we got to put a stop to it. All right? And hopefully some good white people will, is that my bus? Nope. Tell you, they have me waiting here. Now, the bus said it was going to be here in 37 minutes. I'm pretty sure it is. Yep, look at this. It is 40-something minutes, right? And the bus is not here yet. Let's see. Look at it. Said the bus will be in 15 minutes. So, when I got here and I started recording, that was 43 minutes ago. Right? When I checked the schedule, it said the bus will be here in 37 minutes. Right? So the New York Predators Department engaging their little thing, you know, listening to me speak, and I don't care. They can listen. Right? But they're still violating my rights. And just because I say I don't care, that doesn't mean that I give them the right to violate my rights. No, it's not going to happen. Okay? I will never give anybody the right to violate my rights. It will never happen. Okay? So they're either waiting for my phone battery to die, you know what I'm saying? So they can come around and, you know, and such. I got my other phone, so, you know. But again, I want you guys to understand what it is that they do when I talk about manipulation and how they manipulate things, right? Because that's what they do. So now I have to wait for almost an hour, which means that I'm not getting home until, you know, probably after 1 o'clock, which is ridiculous. That I have to wait. All right, so it's 12:20 something. All right, so I have to wait. Right, almost 60 minutes, an hour for a bus. You know, I could have took the bus going the other way and got off at the next bus stop and take another bus and got home. I would have been home already. You know, but I was like, you know, when I had checked the other bus schedule, it said the bus would be there in 15 minutes. I'm like, you know what? I'll just stay. I'll get out here. Oh, here she comes again. Oh, here she comes. The one that was standing over there. That's why they held the bus up. You know, I keep telling you, you gotta understand how they operate and what it is that they do, and how they do it. I see you looking. All right, I'm telling you, they're unbelievable, man. They're unbelievable. Right, the shit that they do. Oh yeah, the shit that they do, man. Bunch of criminals. Bunch of criminals. Bunch of criminals. You know, and if you hate them like they hate you, right? They will be like, well, you know, why do you hate me? Because I see what you do. Because I listen to what you say, but I see what you do. And I go by what you do, not by what you say. And so you can tell me nice things, but your behavior shows you're full of hate. You're the hater, you know. I remember when they used to try to guilt trip me about being a hater because I was speaking the truth, you know, speaking facts. And they don't like that. You know, you see how the MAGA, how they're trying to rewrite history, the lies they're trying to tell. You know, they're trying to call you racist, I mean, you know, these people are just, they're projectionists. That's because, again, that's their mental illness. A large section of white America have a serious mental illness. They certainly do. Right? They certainly do. So, anyhow. But, you know, they know they have me waiting this long because they know that it causes, you know, the law, you know, with my situation, my back, and anybody that knows that have back issues, that standing up waiting this long, and I can't sit down on the bench because it's too hard. It's better for me to stand up. Okay? All right? At least, you know, look, another, that's not the bus that I need, but, you know, you know what I'm saying? But that's what they do. That is what they do. Ridiculous. Ridiculous. And all of this, you know, is to do what? To try to get me to believe shit that, you know, they can't get me to believe. That's all. But, you know, the minds of racists, the minds of predators in positions of authority is that we're going to put our boots on your neck and we're going to step on it and step on it and step on it until you give in, until you surrender your will. You know, you allow us to control you, right? You know what I'm saying? You stop recognizing when we're hijacking your consciousness. Like, come on now, fuck out of here. I mean, it is ridiculous. All right, look. See where it says Crown Heights? Look, still on 15 minutes. Right? Still on 15 minutes. Just want to show you guys. So you guys know that I'm not lying, you know, because they'll try to be like, oh, you lying. Nope. I'm telling you, see, that's what I'm saying. They're going to have me wait here. You know, we talk about the retaliatory nature of the predators in the police department, right? Showing you guys an example of that. The predatory nature. That's who they are. And then they have their civilian criminal cult agents doing the exact same thing, retaliating. You know what I'm saying? Because that's who they are, retaliatory by nature. Right? They're religious fanatics. And so they hate when you speak the truth. Ooh, I just almost fell. I almost just tipped over. You know, my balance. So again, we'll see again. Let's see how long, what they might, what they will try to do too. Let's say if I end the video, right? And the video is a certain, let's say they end the video at whatever minutes of recording, right? Then they will use that number going forward. You know, they will use, like, let's say if I end the video at, you know, let's say 50 something minutes, right? 51, 52 minutes or what have you, right? All of a sudden they'll start sending vehicles with the number 51 or 52. That's what they do. That's what they do. You know, like I said, there's many reasons why how they do things, and it's based off of manipulation and deception. And the more people are educated on these things, the more they can no longer be manipulated. Okay? The more that people know about these things, the more educated they become, the more that they cannot, they become more aware, and they can no longer be manipulated. They know that technology is used. Right? I was talking about the fact that, you know, if you go to China, Japan, you know, South Korea, a lot of the Asian countries in which, you know, they, here, look. Hey, Cyrus, look. Yeah, I say China. I say China. You know, they hate the fact that I talk about China, right? But look at it. China, elevated 800 million of its citizens out of poverty. Right? China is the most advanced nation in terms of infrastructure in the world. You can go anywhere in China, you'll get 5G. Right? You can take high-speed rail to rural areas in China. And even though the Chinese government will never profit from it, they did it so that the people living in those areas who are rural farmers could bring their product to the market instead of having to drive for a day or 2 days to get to the market to sell their product. When it takes them a few hours, right? So it may take them 3 hours instead of, you know, the 24 hours that it would take them, right? And they did it, why? Because of the social responsibility that the nation have towards its people, whether there be rural people living in rural areas, farmers, whether it be, you know, the less fortunate, the homeless. Guys, when I talk about good leadership, I say, yeah, the Chinese government, you know, their leader is a good leader. Unlike the leaders here in the West. You know what I'm saying? So again, I want you to, you know, when I say certain things, you'll hear them use their sirens, is because they're hanging around, you know, listening, and then they will drive by fast and you turn on their lights and their sirens, right? Because you don't hear them from a mile away, right? You don't hear them. You only hear them when they're close, they'll turn on that siren, right? Again, these are things you need to pay attention to. These are things that you got to understand. So they're holding the bus up for whatever reason, and then, you know, remember I talk about as soon as they pass by, you see a gray vehicle and a red vehicle. There you go. Proof. More proof. Psychological warfare. Right? Psychological warfare. So what is it that they're doing? And my phone just as I go to unlock my phone, the camera on my phone went off, right? But look, right? As I unlocked my phone, the camera on my phone came on, and then before my phone was unlocked, I just looked. I'm like, what the heck is this? And as my phone unlocked, then this is what I had. This is the screen that I had that I show you guys, right? But let me see if I can do it again. Let's see. Hold on. All right, hold on. Right. So again, when I hear the sirens, yeah, look at them. You know, yeah, because I expose their shit, because they know that shit don't work. They know that shit don't work. Yeah, I can expose it. I'm an expert in exposing their shit. I'm an expert. Okay. I'm an expert of exposing police psychological operation. I'm an expert in explaining how they use the technology, radio wave, microwave frequency for mind control. I'm an expert in explaining what it is that they do and how they do it, and the method that they do it, and the retaliation that they will do for exposing what it is that they do. Right? Oh yeah. Yeah, sirens. They're still doing the sirens. Guy come over here in the red sneakers. Look. Look here. Watch. Still using their sirens. You hear them in the background, very, very subtle. Again, invasion of my privacy. I'm showing you guys exactly what it is that they do and how they do it. Oh yeah, y'all can whoop 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 all y'all want. Why don't you come drive by here again and do it? You all right? Look. Drive by here again. Turn your sirens on. Come do it. All right? Come do it, man. I saw them up there. I'm like, yeah, drive by here. But they didn't do it though. They didn't. Look, you hear the sirens though? Yeah. Oh yeah. They didn't turn on their lights though. They didn't turn on their lights. Okay? Hilarious, man. You hear them? I told them I'm going to sue the shit out of them. Okay? I'm going to sue the shit out of them. I'm going to take away their qualified immunity. Right? And when I sue them and I settle with them, it's going to be you need to remove all of the higher ups in the police department. All right? And you need to, every year, every police officer needs to go through a 1 week training, right, in social interaction and teaching them about, the economic reasons, the social reasons, the policies in which keeps certain groups of people at a disadvantage, right? And also about the psychology of people that live in certain environment, and that you can't look at them and always have to blame them, but you got to look at the situation that they're put into, so that police can be more understanding. And when they become more understanding, because they have knowledge, you'll start to see them act better. Not to say that they can't, there isn't any sort of, how should I say, it's not to say like if they put in the position where where their life might be in danger, that they'll hesitate. No, what I'm saying is that is their interaction with us every single day, right? So when young brothers are driving and they may drive a nice car, what have you, that you don't pull them over because you see them driving a nice car, because they have not committed any crime. Because you want to fish for something. You know what I'm saying? And you want to violate their rights. No, you can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. But they do it all the time. And this is why, like I said, New York City have paid out well over close to $1 billion already. Over, in the past decade, right? That's a lot of money. That's a lot of money that can go to the summer job program. You can expand the summer job program, right? You know what I'm saying? So that when students, because I remember when I was a teenager in high school, I worked at the summer job program. Right? I didn't have to ask my mother for money to buy clothes to go to school. Okay? That was one of the things that I love about the summer job program. Right? So that money could have went to expanding the summer job program to give more of our children the opportunity to work during the summer and to get that money so they can buy their clothes, and they have to, the burden is, been relief from the parents, at least some of it, right? Some of it. So, things like that. But when you take those things away from young people, right, and during the summertime they have nothing to do, you can't expect them to stay in the house all the time. And how social media, again, is used to weaponize the minds of young people. They do these flash mobs and all this stuff and such, right? See, here's what I did as a parent, right? Particularly when it comes to even with video games and stuff like that. I try to teach my children the things about video games, and I said it's just a game. Like my son used to play Call of Duty as a teenager. you know, because I spoke to him about it. I said, listen, this is a game, right? Don't let it influence you into thinking that it's real life, okay? Because a lot of people will play these games and they'll think that it's real life, right? I say in a video game, you can die, you can come back. In real life, you can't. Okay? You know what I'm saying? So teaching them these things and making them understand these things so that they don't get influenced by others, right? To act in a certain way. You know, I talk about my son Ethan when they were bullying him in the game playing Roblox, and I said to him, and he got upset and punched his monitor and broke the monitor, and I had to tell him, I said, I want you to study what they do, and I want you to do it back to them, and that's exactly what he did, and he never had an issue after that. You load the bus with me, my brother? Let's see what they do. Thank you. They're standing out there for like an hour, man. Here? Yeah. Really? Yeah. For almost 1 hour waiting for a bus. Ridiculous. It ain't crazy. It's ridiculous, right?
I just like 30 minutes ago. I didn't see nobody.
Well, I'm telling you.